Leosthenes rests at the camp after completing the T3 contracts in Denbrie. While enjoying a well-earned meal after his hard battles, his eyes remain fixed on the map laid before him. He carefully plots the route for his next journey, nearby explorations that promise experience, discoveries, and the chance of finding a valuable item. Yet deep down he knows that every step into the unknown will once again bring him face to face with battle, as it has always been his fate. The air is filled with anticipation, for although the march is calm, everyone knows that battles and challenges lie ahead.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this new episode. It seems we're not the only ones giving a welcome, as a group of Ghoulons shows up on the road. However, their hides are not of interest to me right now, so we'll avoid this fight for the moment. As I was saying, this episode is going to be quite interesting. We'll focus mostly on exploring the area further, with the goal of reaching level 20 and learning a key skill that will be useful for the T4 contracts in Denbrie. Let's see how things turn out on this new journey. We did pretty well, almost without taking any damage and without giving the enemy any chances. You see, if you play things right, you can be almost untouchable. Of course, sometimes you also rely a bit on luck, like with Stagger or Daze. But you need to factor in those possible failures when planning your moves. Well, in battles, everything goes. Don't judge me. Well, so far we've come across a Ghoulon spot and a few half-abandoned camps. Nothing really worth it in terms of items, but at least the goal of gaining experience is getting closer. Let's keep going a bit further toward the last marked point on the map. Well, I think with these guys, if we manage to take them down, we could level up. Let's see how it goes, because judging by the looks on their faces, they seem pretty angry with us. A long battle, but pretty well handled. And the most important part is that we leveled up. So now we can start thinking about the T4 dungeon.
Thus, Leosthenes successfully completed his exploration mission, gaining combat experience, picking up some loot, and opening the possibility of learning a new skill. But the adventure did not end there. After briefly returning to camp to regroup, he decided to set off for Brynn, making a short stop in Denbrie to take care of a few matters. Upon reaching Brynn, Leosthenes immersed himself in the city's bustling activity. Beyond his usual trading to earn gold, he spent time visiting different shops. First, he went to the leatherworker, searching for a more suitable belt that would complement his gear and give him an edge in combat. Then he headed to the jeweler, carefully examining each display case in hopes of finding a piece of jewelry that could enhance his skills or improve his equipment. Although what he acquired was relatively modest, each item represented a small step in improving his gear. With this careful planning and the upgrades he obtained, Leosthenes prepared to continue his journey, stronger and more aware of what he would need to face the dangers ahead.
All right, guys, the moment we've been waiting for has arrived. We've got the necessary buffs, and as you can see, the consumables ready as well. I don't know how things will go in the dungeon, which is why I'm going in well prepared. I know the vampires can give us a hard time, but let's go in with faith and give it our best shot. Looks like this guy doesn't really like the stones, huh? Hey there, bloodsucker. I'm right behind them. Finally, he realized he could go that way. But I guess it was more fun for him to keep hitting the rock. The fight was well controlled. These guys weren't much of a threat, but I think we handled our movement well and started to incorporate our new arcane skill, Schism. It not only gives us extra damage, but also helps with crowd control and repositioning. Let's see what other uses we can find for it from here on. These guys could be dangerous if they come in groups, since they're pretty tough. And well, the two-handed axe skills could really mess us up in certain situations. So far, we haven't been struggling too much. Sometimes the fights drag on, but that's the consequence of keeping control. Now we'll see how things go on the next floor, where things are bound to get tougher.
Every fight and every room Leosthenes entered carried a sense of suspense and battle. Each step brought him closer to his destiny, and the looming fight against the boss was no longer far away. And in this final room, there he was, the boss and his minions. Right away, Leosthenes began to scout the terrain, analyzing every corner to figure out how to best control the situation. Now let's see how he manages this time against the challenge.
Guys, this boss is pretty tough if you don't have really strong burst damage, or a way to counter his lifesteal and regeneration, like burning him with fire spells or using bombs. But since in this case we don't have any of that, it's going to take us a bit longer to bring him down from a distance. But I think we'll manage just fine. I took the last potion, just in case the boss used his fire skill and we couldn't put him in daze. But that was mostly as a precaution. As I said, killing him from a distance was going to be tough. But we did it. Now, all that's left is to grab the loot and deal with any leftover fights. Although most of the battles here aren't exactly easy. And of course, if you made it this far and enjoy how I make my content, leave a like and subscribe to the channel to be part of the Chill Quest community. I'll leave you with the rest of the video.